Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Don Lemon Show. The Don Lemon Show is brought to you by the Freedom from Religion Foundation. And look, you know me. I care a whole lot about actual freedom, not the kind people toss around in slogans. I'm talking about the freedom the Constitution actually promises us. And with the Bill of Rights Day coming up on December 15th, it is a good time to remember that very First Amendment, the one that protects freedom of speech, freedom of the press, and freedom from government-imposed religion. That last one, right? A lot of folks like to skip over it, but we can't afford to skip over it now. Christian nationalism is creeping into places it does not belong. And the Freedom from Religion Foundation, well, they have been holding that line since 1978 in courts, in local government, everywhere these fights show up. And so right now they're running their Season of Reason campaign. And I love this. From Black Friday through December 9th, you can get 20% off of FFRF merch. Wear your values. And they're also doing a 2-for-1 membership for new members. So you can join, you can give a free membership to someone in your life who believes in real freedom too. It applies to new U.S. memberships only, not renewals or lifetime tiers, but it's a real way to support the work. So just visit ffrf.us/shop or text my name, Don, D-O-N, to 511-511. That's ffrf.us/shop or text Don to 511-511 because our rights survive only when we're willing to stand up for them. Text fees may apply. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for watching us this morning. You know, we learned last night that one of the National Guard members shot near the White House died. Her name was Sarah Beckstrom. She was 20 years old, really young. She put on a uniform to serve her country. Another Guard member is now still in critical condition this morning. And before anything else, I just want to state this extremely clearly so that there is no question about what I'm saying here. The man who fired the gun is responsible for killing Miss Beckstrom. He chose to ambush 2 Americans in uniform. That's his responsibility. He is responsible for that. That part is not complicated. But what people are asking across the country is another question, a question that sits right next to that one. Why were these young soldiers out there in the first place? That's what everybody is saying to me. Why were they patrolling a civilian street? And would they still be alive had they not been ordered into that position? A lot of people don't want to say that out loud, but that's what people are asking. I live in New York now, but I visit Washington, D.C. often. And every time I go, I see the National Guards. At least when I go recently, I see the National Guard members out there. Young people, kids really, 19, 20, 21 years old. They are standing on corners that they were never meant to stand on. These are men and women, young men and women, mainly, who volunteered to serve their country, this country, in emergency situations like fires and floods and hurricanes and natural disasters. They signed up to help Americans when things go horribly wrong. That's not what they are doing now. They're being used as a domestic police force. And that's the problem. And that is the tragedy in all of this. They were not trained for this role. They were not deployed for the right reasons. And it did not have to happen. According to the Associated Press, Reuters, the Washington Post, these 2 West Virginia National Guard members were on a foot patrol a couple of blocks from the White House. You've heard the news reports. A gunman approached them, opened fire without warning. There was no confrontation. There was no escalation, just violence. Now one of them is dead. Another is fighting for his life in a hospital, and we hope that he makes it. The suspect is a 29-year-old Afghan national. His name is Ramalu Lakhanwal. He came to the United States under Operation Allies Welcome. He had served in one of the CIA-supported Afghan units. Investigators are still examining the motive here. They may or may not get clarity on that. But the part that we cannot look away from is this, is that these soldiers were only standing on that street because the president wanted them there. He chose to put them in that position. He chose to use them as symbols. He chose to send them into a situation that was unpredictable, volatile, and unnecessary. And there is another layer to this that people are calling out online in real time. That's one clip that points out that the administration keeps implying that this man just walked into America unchecked. This is false. It says he came here through a program designed to protect people who risk their lives helping the United States. The fact that the White House is already twisting that narrative only makes a tragedy even harder to swallow. Now, I want you to take a look at how Trump responds. When asked about it, he insulted a reporter, another woman reporter, as he often does, when she factually stated that the Afghan soldier was granted asylum by the Trump administration. Watch.
A question about this tragic shooting in Washington, D.C. U.S. officials say that the suspect worked very closely with the CIA in Afghanistan for years, that he was vetted, and the vetting came up clean.
He went cuckoo. I mean, he went nuts. And that happens, too. It happens too often with these people. You see them. But look, this is how they come in. This is how they're standing on top of each other. And that's an airplane. There was no vetting or anything. They came in unvetted. And we have a lot of others in this country. We're going to get them out. But they go cuckoo. Something happens to them.
Your DOJ IG just reported this year that there was thorough vetting by DHS and by the FBI of these Afghans who were brought into the U.S. So why do you blame the Biden administration for what this man did?
Are you stupid? Are you a stupid person? Because they came on a plane along with thousands of other people that shouldn't be here, and you're just asking questions because you're a stupid person. And there's a law passed that it's almost impossible not to get them out. You can't get them out once they come in. And they came in, and they were unvetted, they were unchecked, there were many of them, and they came in on big planes, and it was disgraceful. And if you look, you'll see there was a law passed. It makes it almost impossible not to let them in, not to certify them, so to speak, once they come in. And they came in, and they shouldn't have come in. And frankly, the whole thing was a mess. The whole Afghanistan situation was a mess. It should have never taken place. If we're going to go out, and we would have gone out because I had everybody ready to go, we were going to go out with strength and dignity and precision, and we would have left from Bagram, and we would have kept Bagram, by the way, because of its very close relationship to China and where they make their missiles. But when you let the people come in by the thousands and thousands and thousands, they made a terrible mistake. But they were incompetent.
Okay, listen. That's an answer from a man who doesn't have an answer. And you know that when you don't have an answer, when you don't have the proper response, what do? You insult people. That's what Donald Trump does. And he does it to the women there more often than the men. He does it to everyone, but more often he does it to the women. Why don't the reporters stand up, by the way, to him? Why aren't the men and the women reporters standing up to the president when he does something like that? It's uncalled for. And all they have to do is say, that's inappropriate, or ask the same question, or stand up for their fellow reporters. I don't understand it. It's galling to me. Support for the show comes from Heat Holders. And listen, if you have watched me long enough, you know I can't stand cold feet. I wear these socks all winter. They're 7 times warmer than cotton. They've got the lab test to prove it. And my toes basically are on vacation every time I put them on. But here's what people don't realize. Heat Holders didn't stop at socks. They took that same warmth and they put it into hats, gloves, base layers, pajamas, even blankets, vests. I love their blankets and I love their pajamas as well. So I'm telling you, on a chilly night, it is my little sanctuary. And their base layers come in 3 different warmth levels. And so whether you are dealing with a light chill or a full-on winter misery, they've got you covered. Plus the jackets and the fleece vest, super warm without feeling bulky. With over 40,000 5-star reviews, they're the real deal. So here's the move. Go to heatholders.com, and between now and Cyber Monday, you can use my code DON25 to get 25% off of your order. Free shipping on orders over $25. So just use DON25 at heatholders.com. Heat Holders keeps you warm, comfy, and cozy from head to toe. Support for the show comes from Lean. And look, it's Black Friday season when even the doctors are having sales. The folks at Brickhouse Nutrition, their biggest sale of the year is happening right now. 30% off everything. If you're trying to get healthier or feel better heading into the new year, this is actually the time to jump, okay? Their product Lean is doctor formulated for people who want to lose real weight without injections. No appointments, no needles, just something that works with your body. They've also got Creatone, which is creatine designed specifically for women. It helps you feel stronger and leaner without having to overhaul your entire routine. And then Field of Greens, the only superfruit and vegetable blend shown in university study to slow aging. Your doctor will notice the difference. Sleep, collagen, everything they make, 30% off right now. Just go to brickhousesale.com. Nice and simple, brickhousesale.com. One more time, brickhousesale.com. But Donald Trump, it's not thousands and thousands and thousands of Afghan soldiers that were let in on asylum. That is a lie. That is a lie. And the truth is, the reporter was correct. This man was granted asylum under the Trump administration. And if that is not enough, all of here, there is the president's response to this. Last night, he was asked if he would attend the funeral for Sarah Beckstrom, the young woman who died in service to this nation. And he said that he hadn't thought about it. He said, well, maybe. He said it sounded like something that he could do. And then he veered into talking about how much he loves the people of West Virginia because they voted for him. Watch.
It's in the early stages, obviously, but do you plan to attend Sarah's funeral?
I haven't thought about it yet, but it certainly is something I could conceive of. I love West Virginia. You know, I won West Virginia by one of the biggest margins of any president anywhere. And it's, you know, these are great people. I love the people of West Virginia. I love the people of our country. But I haven't given it any thought, but it sounds like something I could do, yeah. It's very raw.
Yeah.
How about, yes, I probably will. We haven't had a time to address it, but more than likely I probably will, because this young person lost her life and she deserves a dignified going home ceremony, or even going home celebration of her life. And I will be there with the family and the people of West Virginia. And if you want to understand just how strange that moment was, you should see some of the reaction online. There's one clip that's circulating, one post that's circulating, the commentator saying that he is treating this fallen soldier's funeral like he was deciding whether he should go to a cookout. That's kind of like what it sounds like. That's a reaction. That's what people heard in his answer. And it tells you everything just about how tone deaf his response was. It was tone deaf, it was self-centered, and it was unsettling. It was soulless. Because when an American service member dies, the response should be compassion. It should be responsibility. It should be in reverence to their life in the service of this country. It shouldn't be campaign talk. It shouldn't be about approval ratings or electoral margins. He can't help himself. This moment demands more, much more. It demands leadership. It demands reflection. It demands someone willing to say that sending these young men and women into that situation was just flat out wrong. It's someone who knows diplomacy and protocol and respect. Because the shooter is responsible for the killing. Again, the shooter is responsible for the killing, but leadership is responsible for why Sarah Beckstrom and other members of the National Guard are even on the street in the first place. And we cannot ignore that. We cannot pretend that this was just fate or randomness or something that could not have been prevented. It could have been prevented. It did not have to happen. If the Guard had not been deployed as a political symbol for Donald Trump, if their mission had stayed within legal boundaries, if the courts had been respected, if local officials had not been overridden, we would not be here. So here is the moral question for everyone right now, for this country. What kind of country do we want to be? One that honors the purpose of its military and protects the people who serve, one that treats them as stage props, perhaps, one that listens to the courts, or one that ignores the law? Which one do we want to be? One that respects the Guard's mission, or one that uses them in ways that put their lives at unnecessary risk? A young woman lost her life. A young man might lose his. We hope that he doesn't. A family is preparing for a funeral. Another is waiting for word from a doctor. And the President of the United States responded by talking about voting margins. We cannot just drift past that. We can't shrug at that. We cannot accept that as normal. If we care about these young people, if we care about the rule of law, if we care about the difference between military service and political theater, then we have to hold on to this moment and recognize the responsibility that comes with this moment. The shooter pulled the trigger, and he must be held accountable. But the conditions that put Sarah Beckstrom on the street belong to someone else. They belong to the man who ordered her there. So ask yourself what responsibility you feel and what kind of leadership you want. Ask what kind of country you want to live in, and ask whether soldiers should be put in harm's way for reasons that have nothing to do with their mission. Those answers matter. And what we do with them matters even more. Support for the show comes from Z-Biotics. Let me tell you, this stuff saved me after a night out with friends just this Thanksgiving, okay? I had one of those evenings last night for Thanksgiving where you think, you know what? I'm gonna keep it easy. I'm just gonna have a drink or two, maybe three. And then the next morning, it tells a real story. Well, Z-Biotics was amazing when I tried it, okay? This little pre-alcohol probiotic. And today I feel great. I woke up and I'm ready to go. Ready to do the show for you. No dragging myself around to try to get things done. So here's why it works. When you drink, your body creates a toxic byproduct in your gut, and that's what makes you feel awful the next morning. Z-Biotics gives your body an enzyme that breaks that stuff down. You just drink it before your first drink, enjoy the night, and you feel better the next day. So if you've got holiday parties, dinners, anything coming up, bring Z-Biotics with you. Go to zbiotics.com/lemon to get 15% off of your first order with the code LEMON at checkout. They've got a 100% money back guarantee, no questions asked, so there's zero risk. That's zbiotics.com/lemon. Use the code LEMON for 15% off. And thank you to our sponsors. And I hope that you had a fantastic Thanksgiving and that you're still celebrating and in the warm embrace of those who you love. It is important right now, and keep the National Guard members in your thoughts, because those families did not have a great Thanksgiving. So be thankful for your loved ones. Be thankful that we live in a country where we can criticize our government, where I can get onto this platform and analyze and criticize the administration and our government. That's what being an American is all about. That's what patriotism is all about. Anything other than that is not democracy. It's not America. It's a dictatorship, and we shouldn't live in one, although we are teetering in that territory right now. So I appreciate you watching. If you want to know anything about the show, go to donlemon.com. You can see where you can get us. Just click on any of those buttons and you can find out everything you need to know about us. Become a member and also subscribe. Become a supporter of this program. Independent journalism is where it's at right now. So make sure you join us and like and subscribe on YouTube, on Twitch, on iHeart Radio, on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, on Instagram, and any of the other social media platforms. You can get us on all, and Substack as well, okay? So you can be informed without being inundated. Until I see you back here on Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time for Hot Topics on the Don Lemon Show and the Don Lemon Program, I want you to turn the TV off. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Your support means the world to us. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss a show. We're live every weekday at 10 a.m. and 5 p.m. Eastern Time with new clips dropping at 2 p. and 8 p. And if you want even more Don Lemon Show content, join the Lemon community. Members get exclusive posts, behind-the-scenes videos, and live chats just for you. So hit the join button or visit our channel page to sign up. Thanks again for all your love and your support, and I'll see you next time.